Yeah. Your boy all day on the grind, back for real. DL47 revisiting as much rugby league information as possible. Right now, up to the 1936 wooden spoon in Australian Rugby League and University for the ninth time got the wooden spoon. Their second last year before exiting the comp at the end of the 1937 season. This time, not quite as horrific, not quite as horrendous as their 1935 wooden spoon, which we talked about yesterday, but still bad enough. This time they actually managed to win a game in 1936. There was 15 rounds, but they had one bye, so they played 14 games. And that win coming all the way at the very end of the season in round 15. And what that meant was that they lost the last 13 games in the 1934 season, lost all 16 games in 1935, which made 29 straight losses, and then lost the first 13 games again in this year, 1936, to make an all-time record 42 consecutive losses. They did at least finally win. Finally got a win in round 15, but yeah, obviously nowhere near enough to avoid the swoon, but it was at least something to stop the bleeding, so to speak. But unfortunately, that win in the very last round of 1936, that unfortunately was the last game that they would ever win, because in 1937 they lost every single game, which we'll talk about tomorrow, and then they weren't in the competition anymore after that. So just the same old familiar statistics, what you'd expect from them at this point in time. I think they'd given up. I think they'd known that their days were numbered, and they'd given up at this point in time. And they probably didn't really care too much that they only had 2 years left. But the attack, their 1936 attacking statistics, only scoring 99 points and conceding 414. So the for and against minus 315, at least that's not the minus 420 points that they produced in 1935 season. And I always say, for every wooden spoon, every year, that there was a moment in the sun and a most embarrassing moment. Well, this time, this is the very first. In this video series, it's the very first. Unfortunately though, from University's perspective, the moment in the sun and the most embarrassing moment from 1936 are actually the exact same game, believe that or not. So this game that they won, 1936 round 15, when they beat St George 13-11, moment in the sun because it finally ended the run of 42 consecutive losses. But most embarrassing moment because, like I just said, it was the last game that they would ever win. And remembering too, St George didn't go much better than University. St George actually finished second last in 1936, winning only 3 games. But a win is a win. At least University had something to cry about. But obviously the last time they ever would cry about anything, and just like in 1935, the top try point scorers, meagre, absolutely minimal. This time there was a player called Jim Davies, and he got 3 tries and 9 goals for University in the 1936 season, which is only 27 points, remembering tries used to be 3 points at the time. And they had another player called Frank Freeman, who got 3 tries and 4 goals for 17 points in the 1936 season. So, yes. Overall, the 1936 season only fractionally better than the horrendous 1935 debacle. So the 1935 season obviously worse. I said already that they got 10 wooden spoons, so the 8th wooden spoon in 1935, in my opinion, easily the standout worst one. And then I suppose you could say the next year, which we'll go through tomorrow, in the 1937 season, this time they only had to play 8 games. They lost all of them, but at least, yeah, they didn't have to suffer and be humiliated for as long, and then they were finally out of the competition for good. At the end of 1937, they do still participate like in some of the lower grade competitions, but yeah, definitely not in first grade ever again. So there you go, we nearly finished University, and then we can move on to different teams getting the spoon. And when the different teams get the wooden spoon from 1938 onwards, obviously most of the time they're nowhere near as embarrassing as poor old University. So stay tuned. If you're still watching to the very end of the video, thank you very much for ongoing continued support. Subscribe for this channel. I've made hundreds of other videos with important rugby league information. Thank you for watching DL47.